Okay. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to GDG Cloud Edmonton Ask Me Anything sessions. My name is Wenfei. Alongside with me is Xinli. We are the hosts of today's session. And for today's session, the topic is career development as a technical program manager. And we are very happy to have you invited Peeya to join us. Peeya, so I will let you say hello to everyone, and maybe you can talk a bit about your background to our audience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peeya Iwagoshi. I started my career as a programmer, developer, and also working on both hardware, software. But I think I have very short attention span. I cannot stay in the position for more than 2, 3 years. So I started changing different positions. I did work as a software engineer, hardware engineer, system architecture. I even went into sales, but not the completely dark side of sales, because I still go around talking to people about technology. So I leave the schmoozing and other part of sales to other people. They will bring me in when there's a project, and I'll talk to people. And that was when I discovered that it's more interesting to be working with people than with just working on programs. And if you really think you're a really good programmer, try to figure out how you can program people, and not just one person. Try to program many people at the same time. And that's what technical program management is like. Actually, program management is like. You have to figure out what works for many different individuals within the team, and try to figure out the way to push your message and figure things out, and that will work with them. So that's, I think, is one of the interesting thing about technical program management, and that's what's kept me interested in continue to work in this area. Even though I have a short attention span, but I've been doing this for quite some time and I have not changed. I have changed companies, changed different technology, but the type of work that I'm doing is still somewhat the same as in terms of like technical program management. I'm still doing that job function.
Awesome. Thank you, Pia, for the introduction. It's very interesting. So according to the questions we collected from our audience, the first question, I know you just touched a bit about technical program management. So the
Hmm.
first question we collected here is that what is like to work as a technical program manager?
Oh, that's a great question. As programmers or developers, you go in to work, you know what you want, what you have designed for the day. Occasionally, you find some bugs or something that does not work, and then you have to figure out how to fix it. You fix it, feels good, and go home. And then, or you don't fix it, it takes a few days. But with technical program management, it's like every day people will come and ask you, "Hey, write this program." And even before you finish anything, someone else would come in and said, "Hey, write this other program, write this other program." So things are changing and dynamically changing all the time. And it's not just that. You're not doing it yourself. You have to figure out how to get other people to do this, and to understand, actually, first you have to understand what was asked of you, and then figure out how to communicate that information out to other people. And that becomes challenging because, as you know, it's almost like, you've heard this game that someone at the head of the line tells someone something, and then you kept passing on the message, and eventually ask what the other person at the other end of the line thought what original message was. And that's somewhat like, does not require that many chain, but even if there's one person or two person inserted into the path of the message, it could potentially twist it into something different. So that is one of the biggest challenge of being a technical program manager, which is to make sure that you understand the message really well, and then make sure that the message you push out to the team when you disseminate the workload is concise enough for them to do the work, and not just technically concise. You have to figure out the way to motivate them, keep people interest, because most of these programs are not just 1 or 2 weeks. They are multi-months long. So how to keep people interested and in working, because uh, as you know, tech programming programmers do, if they get bored with what they're doing, they'll leave the organization. So
Mm-hmm.
it is also another challenge, and it's almost really difficult because the good ones are usually ones that get bored easily. How do you keep those challenges? So there are many challenges from both sides, from incoming and then on the people you have to manage, and to add the complexity, technical program managers are not these people's manager. We cannot like tell them and expect them to do things. You have to find ways to
Right.
entice people also. So that's somewhat some brief summary of what the challenge this type of position has to work on.
Interesting, interesting. So before we started to record the video, I remember you mentioned that currently the popularity of the technical program manager position is increasing, right? So
Yes.
can you tell us a bit more about the job market right now for the technical program managers?
Yes, actually, technical program management, if you go to LinkedIn and search for TPM or technical program management, you see that there are a lot of openings for this type of position, because these type of people and who working in this type of position straddle between making things happen as a program manager, but and also communicating with the technical people. And a lot of company use this function, technical program management, as a catch-all for many different things. It could be team lead. Someday you could be working as team lead. Some days you could be working as code reviewer. Some days you can be working as the program manager who collect information from people and do report. So there are many varying things. So that's why I think the popularity of this type of position is becoming more and more. Many companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, all these big companies are looking for this type of people, because they they go beyond program management. They help facilitate and also fill out gaps in many different areas for different projects. That's why these type of positions are becoming more and more valuable to the even large enterprises like Google, and those are not just company, even smaller company to mid-sized company, especially small companies. People who can do many different things are more valuable to smaller companies. So that's why I believe that that's the reason why the popularity of this type of position is becoming more and more in the job market. I mean, I'm getting contacts by recruiters on a regular basis, also through LinkedIn.
That's very good to know. Thank you. So I think it's good to hear that from the job market, the demand is getting higher. So that I
Hmm.
think it's a good news to hear. Xinli, do you have a
Hmm.
question? I saw you raised your hand.
I
Xinli?
think she was
Oh,
just putting
I think
thumbs
I
up.
was just giving a
Oh,
thumbs
sorry.
up, saying that I think it's really good to hear. The job market is really good. Just follow up on this question and link it to our next question is, for example, as myself being a technical person, what kind of the skills that are required, like for example, top three skills are required for a technical person who wants to pivot in their career path to be a technical program manager.
Thank you. I think I touched on that question early on when I introduced the position. Said if you think you're a really good programmer, try to figure out how to program different people at the same time. So it becomes a lot of parallel processing. You have to learn what type of people requires what type of treatment, because it's not one size fit all. You have to figure out how to understand people and motivate. Luckily, most of the technical people have somewhat common type of needs, and motivations are the same. But the technical program management is not only stuck or working with just a technical team. The person in this position has to interface with many different other functions also. It could be production, operations, sales, marketing, product marketing. So it's not just one person. And that's what's make this position very interesting, at least for me, because I'm almost like a hub of many different functions combined. So I have to learn their job function as well, not to the level of they're not that they know, but learn enough to understand what their needs are and how to communicate with them. So that's why I think we touch on the demand for this type of position, because you're almost like a hub of activity. Things, information like, okay, what you have to do to develop comes from the top, and you have to figure out how to disseminate information all around you effectively, and making people want to do work for you or work with you. And that's a combination of many different skills, like people skill, understanding the technical um, things enough to be able to convert what you receive from the marketing team or from product management, and then convert that and work with the team to convert that into design specifications and other things. So it involves many different skills.
Interesting. Thank you, Peeya. So our next question is from the audience, is that like what kind of learning resources you can suggest to our audience who want to be a technical program managers in the future. So we discussed the career development as a front end developer. I mean 2 weeks ago, right? For I guess for a front end developer is a technical position, right? So I guess you can follow a fixed career path to go. But I guess for for career development as a technical program manager is a combination of all kinds of skill sets and knowledge, right? So what kind of tips or suggestions do you have for people who want to pursue this career?
Think about T-learning. Have you heard of what T-learning is?
No, T-learning, no.
T-learning, you know the letter T? It's flat at the top, and there's one vertical bar that goes down. You can learn and be very good at the job that what you're doing, like developers being, say, front-end developers or back-end developers or something. Like, learn what you know really well, but don't just focus on that. Try to learn the top level of all other job functions as well. If you're working with product that touch the hardware, talk to the hardware people, find out what they do, and it will make you be better at your job function, even if you do not pivot into a technical program manager, but to understand all of the functions of the business while you're working in your own area of expertise, will create this good understanding of how what you do touches other areas of the business. And most people, I find, are very helpful. You talk to them, they respond, they'll answer you, especially if you're not being, you're just curious. If you say, oh, if they ask, why do you ask? And I say, I'm just curious. I would like to understand what you do and how what I do would affect you and how you do your job. And talk to everyone, marketing people, support people, because sometimes support people will come and ask you, developers, oh, this thing broke, why does it not work? Don't just stop at answering the question. Make friends with them so that you can go and ask them about how to do their job, and eventually you'll become more knowledgeable. Actually, that's a quickest way to become a team lead as well. Even if you're just not going to program management, but want to progress in your career, knowing how different function touches your team and how your team affects other functions will make you become a more valuable employee. And you'll grow become a team lead, because now you're not only working or in your own area of expertise, you are touching other people. And when you start doing that, you can continue to grow in the technical field and become team lead, become manager or technical director of your vertical, and not even expanding to technical program management. But if you expand beyond just the technical area, then you will become a technical program manager. You will develop yourself into a more technical program management.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion to hear because I mean, according to what you described as a technical program manager, it does require a whole bunch of domain knowledge and communication and
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal skills, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely something people need to prepare, I guess, if they want to pursue the career in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yes.
right. So Xinli, do we have any other questions from you?
Sure, I think what Peeya has shared is really valuable, and it's or I, also I can see it's from his various experience and experimenting for different positions. I'm wondering, there always have a question in my head in terms of a technical program manager is, as a technical person, you're doing your daily job, doing programming or being a data scientist. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
you have this sort of planning or planning for the future career is I want to build up my experience in one domain. Later, I want to progress my career, and technical program manager sounds like a really good option. But
Mm-hmm.
along the way, we were still being a technical person. How can we better prepare ourselves to help us achieve the end goal? And also, additional question is we can do like I know always a quick solution is to learn and go on those online courses to learn the fundamental knowledge about program management.
Mm-hmm.
But how important is that in terms of getting a certificate from some online resources or even from the PMI to finish all their courses to get ourselves certified, or we can demonstrate as has this type of or sort of experience from our uh, past work experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
like there are different options. I'm wondering like what's your thought on this?
That's a really good question. Many people think that the all these learning channels like Udemy, Udacity, their certification has some value, but not as much as you think. Most of the time, when people looking for a job or a person to do certain job functions, they'll ask, "Okay, do you have a certification from an organization like PMI?" So those, in reality, doesn't really tell you how well the person do the job, but at least it's established a baseline. They know these areas of functions that it's required to be able to do program management. That's why oftentimes it's almost like a ticket. You cannot go into the theater or any of the places without the ticket. That's many places will say, oh, PMP certificate is a must, blah, 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 things like that. Or if not a must, it's desirable functions. And if there are let's say there are 300 candidates, send the resume in. That would be the easiest thing for the recruiter to throw away 200 plus resumes by just filtering on this. So if you are not part of the resume that they kept and read, what's the possibility of you getting a job? It becomes an easy filter for recruiters. I mean, you may be able to do this function better than people who have certificate, but to make it past the recruiter who wants to whittle things down to a small set of people. Let's say the recruiter only wants to review 30 resume out of 300. It becomes a ticket. You said, okay, you meet this requirement, although it's not a required, but it's a highly desirable function. They will use anything to filter out so that they can have only like 20 to 30 resumes to look at. So that's why it is important to have this type of certificate, unless you know someone there, you know someone at the company who can vouch you. Oh, this guy is great, or this person, this lady is such a great program manager. You have to talk to him. That would be an exception, right? If you want to apply to the places where you know someone, that makes it less important. But if you were to apply or try to get a job at a place where they don't know you, it becomes a ticket. It becomes a filtering criteria so that you can get into that top, list of 30 or 20 or 30 people. And that does not just end at the PMP. There are certificates like Google Cloud Professional, whatever, cloud architect, or data engineering, machine learning, networking, security. Those type of certificates do have great value, because like PMP certificate, they are a filter criteria for recruiters who want to whittle down like all these hundreds of applications that they get down to a limited set that they don't have to review this many certificate. But those for me, those certificates are more valuable because it shows the understanding of the technical area. And people who pass those, especially on Google side, the tests are more difficult than many other cloud companies. So it required people to know a lot of things about the technical aspect of Google Cloud. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. I think it's a really good suggestion that having that certificate, it's kind of a pass for us to get through the door, but it also relies on our experience and personable skills to actually get the job and do the job well. So I think that's really, really helpful. Thank you so much. I personally learned a lot because I think a lot of my programmer friends or colleagues are thinking about like later in their career they want to become a program manager, and what you have suggested definitely outline really clear pathway for the technical person, how we can now prepare ourselves to have advanced our career to a more, not just interact with machine and computer, but also interact with people, which is really fun. Thank you so much.
Yes. You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome. I
yeah,
hope
Xinli
this
and
is
Peeya.
valuable.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
Xinli,
ahead.
Peeya, thank you for the question and the suggestions. I think I can totally relate to Peeya, what you just said. Because I mean, I'm working with many startups because I'm working for a incubator. So I can totally relate to that, because for startups, they don't have much budget to screen talents for many times, right? So basically, in most cases, what they do is that if they know somebody who has the skills, right, then they will try to talk with them, and if they are a good fit, then that's it. They take the job, and that's the end of the story. So really, networking is also a very important thing for career development, or for looking for a position or job, right? So yeah, so I can totally relate to what you just said. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any questions? Please let me know. Be glad to help answer more questions if you have.
Awesome. So thank you very much again, Peeya, for joining us and for your time, and for all the good suggestions you provided to our audience. And thank you very much again, and have a good night. Take
You're
care.
welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Peeya.
You're welcome. Goodbye, Shin.